Good morning, this is Ted from The Devil's in the Detail. As you can see, we've got this nice Porsche Boxter in for a couple of weeks work, and what we're going to try and do is, well, we're not going to try, we are going to make it look better than when it was purchased. So I've got this for a couple of weeks and we're going to give it the full treatment. This has come from one of my Instagram offers, and so it's going to get the full package at a reduced rate. As you can see, we've got the one wheel off and it's been obliterated with tar off the roads, and so I'm in the throes of just soaking it with Autosmart TARDIS and a brush to agitate it with, and I'm going to set out to get this wheel arch looking as good as it did when the car was made. That's one of the first jobs, is to get all four wheel arches done. I've got the wheel off, which will be cleaned while it's off, inside and out, and then ceramic coated for protection. So we'll see a bit more as it goes on. See you a bit later. Right, thought I'd just show you the under the arch now that it's we've had time to clean it up. Managed to get most of the tar off. I'm not professing that I've got every bit off, but it certainly looks a damn sight better and a bit more like it come out the factory. Plastics have now been treated, and while the wheel's been off, using the wheel mats, we've cleaned the wheel squeaky clean, used the fallout remover and metal particle remover to make sure they're squeaky clean, and I've just finished coating the first wheel with ceramics to protect it from the future. Done the barrel as well, so the barrel's all protected, and I'm going to leave that for another half an hour before refitting it to the car and moving on to the next wheel arch and wheel. So the first few days, you know, is really just about cleaning the wheel arches. I mean, this car didn't arrive till dinner time, so we're not going to get a lot done today, but certainly looking forward to doing the polishing side of it, but there's a lot of work to do before that. So like I say, that's the first arch done, and then I'll be moving around the car. I'll probably be doing the rest tomorrow so that I can spend a couple of hours with ceramic in the wheel. I want to leave it at least an hour before I refit it. So and here's a sneak preview of something I've been doing. I was going to save that one, but who cares, eh? Right, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, I'm on the driver's side wheel arch now. I've just blasted it all down with a jet washer to get the dirt out, but as you can see, just like the other side, it's smashed with tar spots. So I'm going to start treating it with tar disc now, and agitate it with a brush and scrub everything as much as I can to get as much off as I can, and clean it all up before it all gets treated. And while we're at it in the daylight, see if we can see some of the condition of the paint. Headlights been battered with flies, a few scratch marks across here. Nothing unusual for the age of the car. But once we've got all the undercarriage clean, ooh, the big scratch up there, and plenty of scratches on the nose, so there'll be plenty for me to do. So anyway, I'm going to get on with the wheel arch, and I'll show you when I'm done. Right. That's this wheel arch now finished, and we move on to the fronts. They're looking a lot tidier. While the wheel's been off, I've painted the wheel nuts. Just gone over them with the satin black. And I applied the ceramics on the wheel about 3/4 of an hour ago. I'm going to give it another 20 minutes and refit it to the car, start the fronts. But they're looking lovely. Squeaky clean, ceramic coated, protected. So going forward, it'll be a lot easier to maintain the car and keep it clean. So I'm going to move on to the fronts shortly. I'm going to have a cup of coffee, put the wheel back on, and then take the front wheels off. See you in a bit. Right, I've just cleaned the wheel using a wheel cleaner, and now we're going to see how many embedded particles are in the wheel using built amber carousel. We're going to coat the wheel, and if it finds any metallic particles off the brake pads, it'll turn red. Takes a moment or two before it starts finding it, but this is how we know they're squeaky clean, when we've got rid of all the contamination. You know, this is a shocker, because normally they start going red by now. But because you're watching this in real time, you can tell it hasn't been set up for the camera. there's a little bit starting to go there in the corners where you'd expect it. But in general it ain't bad at all. Normally a lot worse than this. You see some little minor. I'll let it stand for a few minutes, see if it finds any more, then rinse it off, and then we'll be drying it, ready to have some ceramics on. And then once I've dried the wheel, I'll start sorting this wheel arch out and get that looking a bit better. But not a lot of action. There is some. Must be testament to my wheel cleaning abilities. I'll see you on the next one. I've applied the ceramic coating and just going to give it a light buff. And then that will protect the wheel. And now turn the wheel round. I've done a couple of touch-ups where there was a few scrapes on the rim. I'll give them a bit of paint, and now I'm going to set about putting the ceramic coating on this. So, fresh makeup pad, some Signature Pro, and start coating the wheel. I know it's a bit boring to watch, so I'm not going to keep you watching it for the whole job, but this is how it's applied. This is a professional detailer product, and should keep these protected for a year or so, as long as they're washed without acid, because the acid kills everything. So there we have it. Bit of ceramic coating. As you can see, the lady who drives it is a pheasant, and it's actually moved all this panel. So I'm going to put it back into place if I can get at it, because it's all sealed, but I'll get in one way or another and put it back together. I'll have a look at it in a bit. Unfortunately, I can't get to the back of that front panel, so when it's inside, I'm going to have to drop the floor panel off to get in to push that back into place. So I've started the wash process, and it's just had the first of probably 3 snow foams in preparation for the wash, and then we'll start decontamination as well. Want to clean the roof up, give that a light scrub for the recolouring, and we're just going to let this dwell to break down some of the dirt and the dead flies and whatnot, and then we'll rinse it off, inspect the car, and then give it another snow foam, and if necessary we'll give it a third one. before it's washed. So I'll see you in a bit when I get to the next stage. As you saw me putting the ceramic coating on the wheels the other day, I thought I'd give you a glimpse at how it reacts when you get water and dirt on it. So if I can, I'll just spray it with the water. You can see all the water beading. As you're driving along it, just fling it off and the wheels stay cleaner for longer. Nice beads, and the inner wells beading up lovely. The whole car will be like that when it's finished. Right, see you in a bit. Carry on with the washing process. Right, the washing process and decontamination with the tar remover and the metal filings remover has been done, and now I'm just starting the clay barring. So we'll see, like, I've just washed it, and it's been washed, really snow foamed 3 times. It's been washed, decontaminated, and now we'll see what comes out the panels. I don't know if you could see, it isn't bad, but there's a little bit of contamination, but it ain't bad at all. So I'm going to carry on. I'm not going to make you watch all of this. I'm going to go over the car and get it ready, and ready to start the polishing process. So I'll carry on with this, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, right, we've fully decontaminated the paintwork, which has now brought the paintwork up quite bright and shiny, and it's all ready to start the polishing process. There are lots and lots of scratches and marks for us to get out, but you'll see them better when I put it in the light room. So I've still got to get all that sticky stuff off the back. The wheels are all done, as you know. The interior's now been completed and is all looking quite lovely, apart from the dirt may keep opening the door and it's blowing in. So that's all done. Why they put the tracker thing on the window there is beyond me, but we've done all inside the door apertures. They're all clean. There was cobwebs and all sorts growing in them. So really we're at the point now where it's ready to go in, get masked up where necessary, and start polishing. There's some quite bad marks around the car, you can see there. This isn't the best place to try and show you, but this nose cone has had some real bad treatment, some bad scratches in there, so that's going to take a lot of looking at. We're going to polish the headlights up and the rear lights, but there's a few bits of damage that we want to have a look at as well. But all in all, I mean, the car looks lovely outside as it is, and I'm sure by the time I'm finished with it, it's going to look a lot better. And it's a lovely car anyway. So starting tomorrow, I'll get it in the light room and then we'll get at it. So we'll see. It all looks nice under there now. Nice and bright, everything clean. So I'll see you tomorrow when we get started. Thanks for watching. Right, it's had 2 snow foams and a wash. On the last one we opened the petrol flap, cleaned in the petrol flap, raised the spoiler to clean underneath the spoiler. I've gone round with TARDIS and I've used 5 litres of TARDIS on this car so far with the wheel arches, and I've just sprayed this side with carousel particle remover and just waiting to see any reaction. It's hard to see it changing red on black, but it will land on the floor red if there is any. So we're just going to wait, see how that reacts, and then I'm going to clay bar the car once I'm happy that the particles have been removed. Just waiting, see what happens. So I'll see you in a bit. Just looking at the interior, just the usual wear and tear. I'm be spending some time cleaning this, try and get it all looking reasonable. Cleaning the air vents, door pockets, clean the leather properly. Alright, let's get on with it. See you soon. Just thought I'd give you a quick look at the underside of the bonnet or the inside of the bonnet area. The inside of the bonnet's now been polished up. That's come up nice, and all the plastics have been treated and cleaned. All looking fresh. There's another part ticked off the list, the never-ending list. So see you later. Right, as you can see, I've got the car in the light room. It's all maxed up. I've masked the roof off because I want to keep it clean. So I've cleaned it and I'm going to recolour it at the end. So I've masked it off, masked everything that I need masked off. And now we're just going to have a walk around and see some of the damage, as they say. Generally all over, you know, it's got the general wash marks and some of the etching, but around the front, on the front panel, quite a lot of heavy damage for us to get out. You can see somebody's had a go at trying to get some out of that and really badly scratched that area there. As I noticed when I was cleaning the car, we've got some deep damage along there, and some, you know, quite heavy scratches in places, but you can see some heavy scratches on top of the wing there. Then your general wash. I mean, some of the marring we've probably added to with the clay barring, but in general A few bad marks on the rear wheel arch. Some etching of some description there on the rear arch. Some scratches around the bumper. So there's some quite heavy scratching around the front and the rear bumper. I noticed there's a bad scratch there on the rear boot lid. There's one right there, funny shaped, but you get all sorts. So the rear spoiler, things do get dragged across the boot lids, you know, unintentionally, and that's got a few scratches in. Some good scratching and more etching around there. There's plenty of scratches to deal with. Nobody knows how we do these things. There's an heavy one across there and some damage around here for some reason. A bit awkward to get to, but I'm sure we'll cope. The doors, apart from some bird poo etches, not too bad. There seems to be some, I don't know whether there'd be sanding marks or what on this wing. But the bonnet, somebody's rubbed right there. A lot of scratches in the front end, a lot. So it's going to take more etching that people have rubbed, and a bit of a touch up. So we've got our work cut out, but I'm sure it's nothing that we're not used to. So we're going to set about transforming the car. Being black will show every mark up. Don't know how some of these marks, I mean that's a weird shape mark, that one. Anyway, you can see somebody's already took some lacquer off the headlamp there. So we'll have to deal with that during the polishing. So, you know, it does need a bit, but that's what it's in for. And it isn't anything different to what we normally see, to be honest. I mean, the car is about 7 years old, so they don't last forever. So I'm going to start the polishing now. I've just got to decide where I'm going to start. I'll probably start on the front end, it's the worst part, so we'll have a go at that first. So as we go along, I'll show you a bit more and try and show some of the actual work, but it does get a bit boring and monotonous, so I don't want to keep it on there too long. I'm going to get at it and I'll see you later. I'm flattening out some of the bad touchings. I mean, you can see how much paint they put on. I've been flattening it and still haven't got it down level. Some here, some there. Unfortunately, there's some deep scratches that I can't get out. I have tried some flatting, but they're too... Well, I promise to do the best job that I can possibly do, and I'm trying to get as many of the scratches out on this bonnet as I can. There's a couple up here that I've just got no chance of getting out, and they're just too deep. So unfortunately they'll have to stay, but there are some around this area that I feel that I could get out. So I'm giving them a flat and try and do the best I can. It appears everywhere I look there's some deep scratches to get out. This is on the bumper. I've just flatted this area, and hopefully I'm going to give it a polish now, see if it's removed the scratches. But I'm sure I'm going to find more of them. I've found some more of them thinking about it, but they're so hard to see. On top of the wing looks like something's been dragged off the bonnet and gone down the wing, and they're quite deep, but them are that close to the edge. I don't know whether I'll get a lot of them out, but we'll see. Have a good go anyway. Without you. Right, as you can see, I've got the car in the light room. It's all maxed up. I've masked the roof off because I want to keep it clean. So I've cleaned it and I'm going to recolour it at the end. So I've masked it off, masked everything that I need masked off. And now we're just going to have a walk around and see some of the damage, as they say. Generally all over, you know, it's got the general wash marks and some of the etching, but around the front and the front panel, quite a lot of heavy damage for us to get out. You can see somebody's had a go at trying to get some out of that and really badly scratched that area there. As I noticed when I was cleaning the car, we've got some deep damage along there, and some, you know, quite heavy scratches in places, but you can see some heavy scratches on top of the wing there. Then your general wash. I mean, some of the marring we've probably added to with the clay barring, but in general, a few bad marks on the rear wheel arch, some etching of some description there on the rear arch, some scratches around the bumper. So there's some quite heavy scratching around the front and the rear bumper. I noticed there's a bad scratch there on the rear boot lid. There's one right there, funny shaped, but you get all sorts. So the rear spoiler, things do get dragged across the boot lids, you know, unintentionally, and that's got a few scratches in. Some good scratching and more etching around there. There's plenty of scratches to deal with. Nobody knows how we do these things. There's an heavy one across there and some damage around here for some reason. A bit awkward to get to, but I'm sure we'll cope. The doors, apart from some bird poo etches, not too bad. There seems to be some, I don't know whether there'd be sanding marks or what on this wing. But the bonnet, somebody's rubbed right there. A lot of scratches in the front end, a lot. So it's going to take more etching that people have rubbed, and a bit of a touch up. So we've got our work cut out, but I'm sure it's nothing that we're not used to. So we're going to set about transforming the car. Being black will show every mark up. Don't know how some of these marks, I mean that's a weird shape mark, that one. Anyway, you can see somebody's already took some lacquer off the headlamp there. So we'll have to deal with that during the polishing. So, you know, it does need a bit, but that's what it's in for. And it isn't anything different to what we normally see, to be honest. I mean, the car is about 7 years old, so they don't last forever. So I'm going to start the polishing now. I've just got to decide where I'm going to start. I'll probably start on the front end, it's the worst part, so we'll have a go at that first. So as we go along, I'll show you a bit more and try and show some of the actual work, but it does get a bit boring and monotonous, so I don't want to keep it on there too long. I'm going to get at it and I'll see you later. I'm flattening out some of the bad touch-ins. I mean, you can see how much paint they put on. I've been flattening it and still haven't got it down level. Some here, some there. Unfortunately, there's some deep scratches that I can't get out. I have tried some flatting, but they're too. Well, I promise to do the best job that I can possibly do, and I'm trying to get as many of the scratches out on this bonnet as I can. There's a couple up here that I've just got no chance of getting out, and they're just too deep. So unfortunately they'll have to stay, but there are some around this area that I feel that I could get out. So I'm giving them a flat and try and do the best I can. It appears everywhere I look there's some deep scratches to get out. This is on the bumper. I've just flatted this area, and hopefully I'm going to give it a polish now, see if it's removed the scratches. But I'm sure I'm going to find more of them. I've found some more of them thinking about it, but they're so hard to see. On top of the wing, looks like something's been dragged off the bonnet and gone down the wing, and they're quite deep, but them are that close to the edge. I don't know whether I'll get a lot of them out, but we'll see. Have a good go anyway. As you've probably seen, I've been doing quite a lot of flatting around some of the stone chips on this bonnet, but the washing that this has received previous leaves a lot to be desired, and looks like it's actually been done with an house brick. Now, I face a couple of problems here to try and get some of these heavy scratches out. I mean, I don't think they're filming very well because of the light, but there is some real deep scratches. So the problem I've got is we measure the paint on the bonnet, we're getting readings that are all over the place, and they're quite low for what I'd expect from a Porsche bonnet, which tells me that previous to the owner buying the car, this has already been polished heavily and then badly scratched during the washing processes. Now, if I show you the paint difference, this is the paint difference on the wing that you can see. If I put it on the bonnet, there's not really enough lacquer left for me to completely wet flat the scratches out. So I'm going to concentrate on getting the lighter scratches out, which I have done on the other side of the bonnet, but I've had to leave some deep scratches in the paint. You'll probably be able to see them now. All the other scratches are off. You can see the deeper scratches. So unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do with the bonnet. There's really needs respraying, but I'm still going to try and make it look as tidy and as shiny as possible, because these bonnets do tend to get quite stone chipped anyway. So in the future it can be repainted, but I still want it to look, you know, equal to the rest of the car. Now, there's a lot of damage around the front nose, which I'm going to try and flat out. The stone chips I did yesterday, I managed to get some of them a lot lower by the wet flatting, and certainly on this side of the car they've come out quite well. Some of these are like little dents as well, so I can't, you know, in all honesty, do a lot with them. So I'm going to crack on and try and get the bonnet looking as good as I can, and then get the nose looking good. The rest of the car seems to have plenty of lacquer on it. You know, I have been round the car and I knew what I was starting with, but you could see there's massive differences in the depth of the paint all over the car. Well, you know, it's been heavily polished, so we can only do the job that the paint allows us to do, you know, and to get a lot of defects out we need to be able to take some of the lacquer off. So we just got to work carefully, keep measuring, and get it up as good as we can. So I'll get on with it and I'll see you later. Right, so I've flatted the nose, get out as many of the not so deep scratches, and also over parts of the bonnet, knocking down some of the touchings. That's actually a dent so I can't really do anything with that. There's actually a panel behind there, the frame of the bonnet, so I can't get in even just to lift it a little bit. So, but there's plenty of scratches to contend with. So I'm going to start start polishing this side of the bonnet. I'll knock it down with a wool pad first. I've got a wool and an heavy foam and a little medium foam. So I'll just knock it down first. I'm not trying to get a gloss at this stage, just trying to correct the paint as much as I can. So let's see what happens. I'll see you in a bit. Although I haven't been able to get some of the deeper scratches out, it is starting to look a damn sight better. After wet flatting the nose, there's loads and loads of deep scratches in the car, and the washing is probably the worst washing result I've ever seen. It looks like they've had a rag or a sponge with a load of grit in it and dragged it over every panel on the car. And we can only do so much, and it costs thousands of pounds to put some of this damage right. So leave your cars dirtier for longer and then get them washed properly, or you end up in a position where the paint is unrecoverable. I mean, we're fortunate that we have the skill to improve it so that, I mean, you know, it looks, you know, very, very nice from 4 foot away. But the damage is there, and for a £5, every time you go, probably costs you 200 quid in damage. So remember that when you take your pride and joy. Anyway, less of the ranting, and that's the bonnet and front bumper done. Starting to look nice. It's a pity about the deep scratches, because I really wanted to get this looking better than new, but like I say, we can only go so far. But within the realms of the paint thickness, I think, you know, it is starting to look lovely. So anyway, I'll see you on Monday with some more. Well, here you find me finding even more deep scratches. I'm not going to even attempt to show you the scratches on the camera because they're so hard to see, but the whole car looks like it's been washed with a sponge that's got grit in it, and every single panel is covered in deeper scratches. Now I've put an hard pad on the 3-inch and heavy cut paste. You can see I've masked off the panel I've done, because when I've done this area I'll be changing to a bigger mop with a wool pad, and I don't want to overlap and flick onto the panel I've already finished, so I've masked that off. But firstly, I'm going to try and remove these scratches that are along here. So I thought I'd just show you a little bit of using the 3-inch orbital. The paint thickness is better on the rest of the panels than they were on the bonnet, so I can be a bit more aggressive to remove the scratches. So here we go, less talking, more doing. Right, we'll just give this a wipe off. And see. Well, 3 or 4 of them have gone, and we've got one that's a lot deeper just here. So I'm going to have another set, have a look, see how it's coming, and possibly have to do 2 more sets. And I don't really want to start flatting so close to the mirror because I don't really want to be pushing the polishing mop into the mirror base, even though I've masked it up, and the scratch is just about ½ inch away. So I'll carry on giving it a little bit more and we'll see how it goes, and I'll see you in a bit. Thought I'd just show you how deep some of these scratches are. This is during the flatting process, so I've already locally been nibbing it, and as you can see the scratches are still clearly visible. Now I'm going to give it a bit more, see how much of it we can get out. Right, I've kept flatting. You know, I've covered a fairly big area because I don't want to create a shallow. As you can see, there's just a little dot there which I think, you know, I'm going to polish out when I start the heavy cut. So I'll give it a polish now. Now I've had these all over the rest of every panel I go to, they've got them in. Whoever washed it has just destroyed it, but some of them I haven't been able to get all of it out, but as you can see it is coming up. You know, I'm getting out what I can, and the rest are looking fairly invisible. You know, just by treating it like this, give it a little nib, and in this case it wasn't just a little nib, but we'll polish it now and see what it looks like. Right, I've kept flatting. You know, I've covered a fairly big area because I don't want to create a shallow. As you can see, there's just a little dot there which I think, you know, I'm going to polish out when I start the heavy cut. So I'll give it a polish now. Now I've had these all over the rest of every panel I go to, they've got them in. Whoever washed it has just destroyed it, but some of them I haven't been able to get all of it out, but as you can see it is coming up. You know, I'm getting out what I can, and the rest are looking fairly invisible. You know, just by treating it like this, give it a little nib, and in this case it wasn't just a little nib, but we'll polish it now and see what it looks like. So after 3 sets using the Menzerner Super Heavy Cut compound on a firm 3-inch on the orbital polisher, and there's the compound. You could see now there's no scratch visible. You know, it's gone for good. It hasn't just masked it, it's actually got rid of it. Obviously this is having a 3-stage polish, and this is really the first of them 3, so it'll obviously looks glossy as it is, but it will get glossier as we carry on through the stages. The problem is I've got to move down the door. There's even more scratches along there, so I'm going to complete the first stage with any flatting and heavy cutting I need to do on that first. But the bottom of the door, which has had 2 stages now of polish, let's turn the light on, and that's really coming into shape. Like I say, I've got all the scratches I can out of it, and it's had a 2nd stage polish now with the medium cut Menzerner, and obviously when I finish the whole door I'll go over it with a super fine to lift the gloss a little bit more, but it's coming on. It just takes time, and as it happens I've got this car for really 3 weeks or more, so the time isn't an issue. The price was quoted, and it will stay at that price no matter what I have to do. The aim is to get the car to the best standard I can get it, and obviously with the bonnet I couldn't get it to this level because there's not enough paint for me to flat, but it just shows what can be achieved if you have got enough paint to work with. Well, it's the lacquer we're working with really, so we can achieve a great finish if we've got enough material to work with. So there you have it. That's scratch removal, and I'm not hiding anything. That is exactly how it is, and obviously it will get lifted during the next 2 stages of polishing. So there we have it. I'll show you a bit more later. Thanks for watching. Well, I've moved about 8 inches from the last flatted part, and I've had another one, and I think there's another one up this end somewhere. There it is. I don't know whether you'll be able to see it there. There's another scratch just there. It's not showing up very well, but in all truthfulness, it's because it's above the waistline that I'm taking the most care. I mean, if it was on the bottom of the door, that's not going to show up so much, or nobody's going to see unless you run them over, then we could polish them down so it curls the edges of the scratch and you don't see it. But anything above the waistline, you know, you're going to see when you're looking down at the car. So I always want to spend extra care when it's above the swage line. That's not taking anything away from the finish that I'm going to get on the rest of it, but these are the parts that people see, and I want them to be perfect, or as perfect as I can get them. So, you know, probably more attention to the details, you know, are above the swage line, and you know, I think in all honesty most detailers would say the same, but you know, this is still as good, you know, at the bottom of the door, and the sills will be polished exactly the same. But basically what I'm trying to say is that you don't notice so much on the lower part of the car as you do on the top, so that when you look down on the car, we want it to look as crisp as possible. So that's why if there is any scratches up this end that I can get out, I will. And of course this is where most of the scratches are anyway, you know, or the visible scratches. You know, it's it gets more attention, it gets the hands touch it more. When you're cleaning, it's probably the first part that gets cleaned is the upper part of the car, so they sustain more damage. So anyway, I'm going to crack on, else I'm never going to get this finished. As you know, wet flatting out all these scratches out takes more time, so, but at the end of the day it'll be worth it when it's done. Right, see you in a bit. And more deep scratches. I'm not going to bother filming any more of these because there's lots of them, so I'm just going to crack on and get them done. See you later. Well, the rear quarter and this lower plastic panel was that badly damaged I've had to get the flatting bucket out. The scratches, I mean, it's criminal what they've done to the car. They ought to be held responsible for putting it right, because it's criminal, you know, to do the damage that they've done on this car. But I'm going to see what I can get out of it. As you can see, I'm This isn't just a little nib job here, this is a proper bit of flatting. But we'll see how it comes up. I'll show you when I get there. See you soon. Right, after wet flatting this part of the rear quarter and the wing, we'll give it 2 stages of polish. And as you can see, apart from the road rash that it's got, we've got every one bar 1 scratch out of it, and it's all coming on nicely. There's a lot of stone chips and that, but you know, it's not a new car, 7 years old, and you've got to expect some rash, but no, I'm pleased, especially up here where there was 3 really deep scratches and they've all come out. So now I'm going to move along the rear quarter because I've found some more to flat out, but overall the car's starting to come together. I'm pleased that I'm recovering as much of it as I have done. You know, I did look at it and think a lot of these are too deep, but yeah, quite happy. Once I've finished this rear quarter, I'll go over with a rotary and a fine and lift the gloss a little bit more, but it does look very glossy as it is. But it'll just finish it off, make it pop a bit more and make it look more like the sort of job that I like to turn out. So I'll see you on the next one. I'm starting to think that I should have wet flatted the whole car, because I seem to be doing virtually every panel so far has had to have quite a bit of flatting. And we're still on the rear quarter, and as I'm moving back over the panel, just finding more and more deep scratches. But it's all part of the job, and I did promise that I'd do the best job that I can, and I think I'm fulfilling that commitment. Right, let's get polishing. Well, I think it was inevitable with the rear bumper that it was all going to get wet flatted. So that's what's happening. It has made a massive difference. So I mean, the scratches are that bad. I've never seen wash damage this bad. I didn't really expect to be wet flatting virtually every panel. In fact, I think I should have started by flatting the whole car, but it's the way it goes sometimes. So, just going to get on now, and we'll see the results later. See you later. Well, just looking at the spoiler, and I've just give it a quick lick with a first cut to get the wash swirls out, and this is what I'm left with to get out of this. So far, every single panel I've looked at has got these deep scratches in it, so this is going to be wet flatted as well. So the rest of it's starting to look really, really nice. You know, something which I don't mind turning out. So anyway, I'll get on with this one, and I'll see you later. Hello, good morning. I'm about to start the boot lid, and we've got a couple of quite nasty scratches. I've just run a quick polisher over it to highlight the damage that needs to be flatted out. Some there in the corner of the boot lid. There's some DA marks like pigtails all over the boot lid, some etching, and generally just looks very, very frosty. You know, there's scratches everywhere. Not as deep in the boot, thank God, but a little bit of flatting will get some of the worst ones down, and hopefully it'll look a treat when it's done. So I'm going to get on and do it. So I think I'm going to have to mask the badges off, and then go around them individually with the little polisher. But see if we can save some of this. See you later. Well, I've just finished the boot lid, and done quite a bit of wet flatting, as I have on some of the other panels, and I must say, looks beautiful. So I've done about half the car now. Well, probably over half the car, with most of the rear bumpers done. Spoiler looking a damn sight better than it did, and now the boot lid. So I'm about to start, finish the bumper off on this corner, and the lamp, obviously I haven't done that, and then start this side of the car. But now it's starting to look sweet. I'll see you on the next one. Well, I've just finished wet flatting and polishing this rear quarter. It's now looking nice. and I'm about to start on this panel. But as you can probably see, this is nasty as well, although it isn't as bad as the other side. It's still got some deep scratches. So we'll start on this one now. And see if we can get it like this one. See you later. Good morning, it's Ted from the Devil's in the Detail. You've probably seen the video with me knocking the flatting marks out of the panels with the soft wool. But the soft wool, even though it is a really nice pad, it still leaves marks itself. Once it's cut all the flatting marks out, it leaves these little, it's like a cloudy finish that stays on the panel that's created by the hairs from the wool pad. Now this is on a rotary and it's cut all the flatting marks out. Now I've got a medium green pad on the orbital polisher, and I'm using Menzerner 2200 to cut it down. So the whole panel, I mean, I've already done some of it. Let's see if I could show you the sort of finish. That's the finish that comes off the wool pad. You can see the holograms and obviously light swirling that it leaves. So now we're going to cut as much of these marks out as we can with the medium cut second stage polish, and then after that I'll be going over the panel again as much as it needs with the orbital with a black soft pad and Menzerner 3800, and I'll refine it until I can't see any holograms, any marks, and get it ready to have the ceramic coating. It's all wiped down as we go with panel wipe, so that we leave no oils or anything in the pores of the paint. We're going to make sure that it's perfectly clean for the ceramics to bond to. So I've already done some of the door up to about here with the medium, and I'll just give you a 30-second blast of how the orbital works. You've probably all seen it before, but it doesn't hurt to show. That's only a short set. Normally I'd work it a bit longer than that, but just for video's sake, you notice that we're not trying to do the whole door in one go. It's, you know, we just do a short section, concentrate on a short section, and although I can still see, looking into the light that I've got below the panel, that there's still holograms to get out, but you'll see already it is starting to cut them out. So 2 or 3 sets of the second stage. Some of this is the polish, the edge of the polish that you're seeing, but you can see it's already starting to cut it down. So 2 or 3 sets in each area will cut the marks out that the fine hairs have left. So I'll crack on now, do some more cutting. I mean, that was a short set. I normally work the paste a lot longer than that, but like I say, it's for demo purposes. So I'll crack on and I'll show you when I've done it. See you in a bit. Well, here you find me finding even more deep scratches. I'm not going to even attempt to show you the scratches on the camera because they're so hard to see, but there's the whole car looks like it's been washed with a sponge that's got grit in it, and every single panel is covered in deeper scratches. Now I've put an hard pad on the 3-inch and heavy cut paste. You can see I've masked off the panel I've done, because when I've done this area I'll be changing to a bigger mop with a wall pad, and I don't want to overlap and flick onto the panel I've already finished, so I've masked that off. But firstly I'm going to try and remove these scratches that are along here. So I thought I'd just show you a little bit of using the 3-inch orbital. The paint thickness is better on the rest of the panels than they were on the bonnet, so I can be a bit more aggressive to remove the scratches. So here we go. Less talking, more doing. Right, we'll just give this a wipe off. And see. Well, 3 or 4 of them have gone, and we've got one that's a lot deeper just there. So I'm going to have another set, have a look, see how it's coming, and possibly have to do 2 more sets. And I don't really want to start flatting as so close to the mirror because I don't really want to be pushing the polishing mop into the mirror base, even though I've masked it up, and the scratch is just about ½ inch away. So I'll carry on giving it a little bit more, and we'll see how it goes. And I'll see you in a bit. Without you. Good morning, it's Ted from The Devil's in the Detail. I'm about to put the first coat of the colour on the canvas roof, just to get rid of some of the slight bleaching that it's got where the bars inside the roof fold. They tend to push on it and it goes a little bit whiter. So it's going to get 3 coats of colour, and then I'm going to leave it for about 1.5 hours, 2 hours before I start applying the waterproofing. The waterproofing will be put on in exactly the same way as I'm going to show you now. I'm only going to put the first coat on just to give you a general idea of how we do it. So you want to bear with me a second while I just get me gun ready. You'll be able to see start going on. Right, so I'm now going to leave this for about 10 minutes, just to let it soak in. I'll just have a look, make sure, see if there's any patchy bits, and then it'll have another coat. I'll give that another 10 minutes, and then another coat, the final one. And then we'll leave it for an hour or so, 2 hours, and then I'll apply the waterproofer. So there you have it. That's why it's all masked up like this, so that we don't cover everything else that we've just polished. So I'll see you later on the next one, and thanks for watching. Applying the Ultimax Signature Pro ceramics. I'll carry on around the car.
without you.